I hear from kids all the time. They say, how do you write that story? Where do you get these ideas? He's already got that gift, and how exciting that he's already starting at the age of 7 and writing a book. And through the eyes of a child, the children are going to want to read that. And I think that is what's magical about your book. In today's episode, I'm joined by writer of Dani the First Kid in Space, a fun, imaginative adventure that takes young readers across the solar system while sparking curiosity about STEM learning. Welcome, Darya. Share a little bit about why you wrote this book and what gave you the idea.
Thank you, JoAnn. I'm really happy to be here on your podcast. It's a really wonderful opportunity to present this book and speak about my journey and the idea behind the book. The book is actually co-authored, so it was written by my son, who is now 7 years old, and me. And my son, Dani, has always been fascinated by space and planets and space travel, and he loved books about this, and he watched cartoons and movies, and he talks about it a lot. He wants to discuss with me on these topics. And I teach languages. I teach Russian and Ukrainian as foreign languages. So he saw me producing my own educational materials and books, and he was interested to see the whole process and the end results. He would hold the book with my name or also other names, other authors, other children's books. And he was very observant. He says, okay, so here is a title, here is the whole story, there are chapters, here comes the author's bio, here is author's photo, there is a price barcode. He says, I understand how everything works. One day, let's also write my book. Help me, please. I say, sure, one day we'll do it. And then one day he actually came up with a very specific idea. He said, Mom, I have an idea. I have a story about me going to space. Start writing. Take a piece of paper and write. I say, well, let's do faster like this. I switched on Microsoft Word. I opened Microsoft Word and I switched on dictate. And he started just dictating, saying it out loud, okay? And basically he recorded the whole story in one go, in just one evening. Whole story without any interruption. Let's save it and let's take a look at it later. Let's see how we can organize these ideas. And then I looked at his story. He dictated maybe around 2-3 pages of A4 text. I was fascinated because he actually had very good facts and very good logical story. So he used the correct order of planets as if he was jumping through them. So correct order from the sun, let's say from Earth. At first he goes to Mercury, and then he goes to Venus, then he goes to Moon, and then he goes to Mars. And he also used correct characteristics of the planets. Well, his story was quite basic, was just, let's say, big strokes of paint, like, okay, now I see a green portal. I am going to Venus. Okay, it's time to go away. I'm too hot. Bye-bye. And then like this, he goes to the next planet. The facts that he used, I didn't change. I used his idea. I used his heroes. I used his colors of the portal, everything. But I just turned it into a story with dialogues written, with correct text, punctuation and stuff. And yeah, actually, when I looked at the content, I was thinking we should definitely keep all the details. They make a lot of sense, and they actually make a lot of learning sense. For kids who will be reading, he says Uranus rotates on the side, or Mars is cold. And when kids read these lines or this chapter, they will remember it through reading a story, through engaging in the story, through reading these jokes, the adventure, not from a textbook, but like from a story told by a child, for a journey, And I think these days kids really need this kind of easy approach to learning, because they have a lot of information these days. They are swamped with information, and it's very difficult for them to keep this information in their head, because it just disappears. We all are drowning in information. So I think it's a good story for kids because they enjoy, first of all, the adventure behind the fun, and also they learn something from real facts about planets.
That is so fascinating. How old was he when he initially wrote the outline of that book? Because now he's 7. He must have not been very old when he started writing.
He's now 7.5. He had the idea of this book already around 6.5 years old. And this Christmas, that's when we had time to actually sit down and write a story. So he was talking about the story, but not distinctly.
You must be so proud of, at such a young age, obviously he loves space, and so it was easy for
Yes.
him to write. Saw your book on, I think it was social media, and I reached out to you because you have a space book and I have a space book, and I wanted to collaborate in some way. And I had no idea at that time how much it was that he wrote the story, not necessarily you wrote it as the author, but co-authoring. Even co-authoring, he did the majority of the storytelling. And I think that's what's fascinating about this.
Yes, original idea is his, the character ideas is his, and the portal, the most important is the portal teleportation idea is his, because I actually asked him, wait, Dani, so in your draft, I read his draft, which was 2 pages document. Look, here, what is missing is the vehicle. How did you get to all these places? And he says, well, I teleported. I say, I know. I was about to ask him. So, Dani, I think we need to write like maybe chapter 1, how you actually created the rocket, or how did you prepare? What did you pack with you? Did you have a suit or not? Let's explain a little bit to your readers. Oh no, rockets. It's too long. I have no time for this. This new generation of kids, they are creative and they are very rational. They don't want to waste time on rockets.
I love the idea of the portal, and he just jumping into the portal in his regular clothes. He didn't think he needed anything else.
I say, then in this case, we don't need to ask the illustrator to draw a suit. He said, yes, I just do like this, boom, and I'm there.
Dani is such a fun, adventurous character, and it's him, as we know. What qualities did you want kids to see in him, and what do you hope they take away from the journey?
The story is written by him, from his perspective. So he is the main character, and he wrote about himself, about his own imaginary journey. I am sure that this book has preserved the exact humor, the voice, and the personality of Dani, my son. I actually showed it to several friends of mine when it was still not published, just a draft copy. And they said, wow, I could just imagine Dani telling me this story himself. Some facts that I have added in the book is actually some soft skills I would like Dani to acquire, and I would like other kids to acquire. For example, Dani goes to unexpected places. Well, he doesn't know what to expect there, right? Yet he manages everything. He makes friends, he works as a team, he helps people, he avoids danger, he can handle frustration, he knows how to get out of dangerous situations, and knows when to leave. When it's too bad, too unsure, just, yes, leave the unsafe place. So I wanted actually the kids to copy these qualities from him. And of course, Dani is first of all, curious and fearless, but I would like to show with the book that fearless up to a point.
Dani did a third of the work for you, that he is the character and everything about him and who he is. What a connection that I'm sure kids are going to have, that is truly him. Did you write anything in the back of the book about the author and about Dani and who he is? Do you have both your photos in the book
Yes.
for other people to see who Dani is?
Yes. Yes, I have a joint photo with him and a few lines about us.
I think that is the special part about the book, is that kids are going to connect to that because it's him. They can see him and all of his imagination and who he is as the character.
And you know what? I asked the illustrator, when he was asking me, how do you want the main character to look? I said, look, I give you a photo of my son, make him look like my son. You don't have to imagine much. Just draw a 7-year-old boy with glasses in a hoodie and use this photo as an imagination. And he actually did. And when we hold the book in our hands, even kids, when Dani brought this book now to school, even the kids, his classmates, look at him, Dani, but it's you on the picture, on the front page. Yeah, it's me. It's about me.
How special that even his friends can recognize, my gosh, that's you, Dani. That is so exciting. Let's talk about self-publishing. Did you talk
Yes.
to Dani about how to self-publishing the book? Any details about that? Because that's a whole nother aspect for Dani to learn about after writing this book.
I have never published a picture book. I have published 10 educational books for language learners myself. So I knew the process. For me, it was not new, but for him, of course, he was observing me. I said, look, this is a picture book, so we need illustrators. It was a new process for me as well. Search for illustrator. I made a post in Facebook groups for authors and for illustrators. And I was actually surprised. I got so many replies on my post, of emails as well. And it was the challenge for me to figure out who is who. Because what I noticed is some illustrators are not genuine illustrators. I would say maybe it's an agency. I don't know, using different names. Like, I don't know, so Maria writes to me sending her portfolio and Anna writes to me sending her portfolio. And when I look at portfolio, some pictures are the same. And, so either one of them stole from each other or it's just an agency or one person presenting themselves as two people. Anyway, so it was a challenge for me to actually discern these people and then evaluate their skills. And what I did is I shortlisted 3, and I asked 3 of them to produce just one picture, just one scene. Paid the test task. Also, it allowed me to understand how the communication goes. If I feel safe, transferring them the money. And then I showed Dani the test illustrations of 3 illustrators. And not only Dani, I also showed some of my friends. And we chose one person. And then we went with him. It was very nice. It was a very good experience. He is super good as communicator. He delivered what we asked for. I made a prompt description of which exactly scenes I want to be illustrated, because I had to tell him exactly how many I need, because it's a matter of price as well. And Dani always knew what's going on. I'm telling him what's going on.
How long did it take him to illustrate the entire book?
He was very fast, I would say. I gave him the scene description, the prompts, 1 week to 10 days, including 2 rounds of comments. So he would maybe provide me within 3 or 4 days, and then another 3 days. And
he had the book fully illustrated from beginning to end. Just 10 days?
I ordered, I think, 18 illustrations from him.
That is very quick, Darya. That is, I'm not sure that's your first book. Sometimes it's taken 6 months for illustrators.
Really?
And I think that depends on whether they're using Procreate or whether they're hand painting.
Yes. So I asked him if he wants to be mentioned, and he said, yes, if you wish, you can use my name. I say, well, for me, it's as you wish. I say, if you don't mind, I would like to use your name. It seems more credible, more
Absolutely.
professional.
I think he did a fantastic job. And now that I heard he only took about 10, maybe a little more than 10 days for that many illustrations, that's a dream for an author to get illustrations that quickly. And then Did he lay the book out for you in KDP, and who did you use for that, for the designer?
Me.
You did that. Wow. Did you use a program?
I use Canva for many other projects, for other books and for social media, everything. So yeah, I used Canva to lay out my text with illustrations and then download it as PDF to upload to Amazon. And for Amazon Kindle, I also created a Kindle version.
That is fascinating that you were able to do all that yourself, but you've published other books. So I think that
Yes,
that helps. Are your other books self-published, or are they traditionally published by a publishing company?
they're all on Amazon, all self-published. Amazon and Google Play Books.
Do you have an audiobook or did you create any audiobooks for any of your books? I'm just curious because that's a big thing now.
Yes, as soon as I created Kindle version of Dani the First Kid in Space in English, I have created an audio version of this book. The audiobook is published automatically. You can just click on Amazon and you pick the voiceover and Amazon is doing it.
That's fantastic. You're saving yourself so much money doing it yourself. I have had book designers, I've hired illustrators and editors, and so that is fantastic. I'm very impressed about this book and you and Dani publishing it, so much of it on your own. For aspiring children's book authors, especially for those interested in STEM-focused stories, what advice would you give them as they consider writing this type of book and self-publishing it?
First of all, being self-published author, it has both pluses and minuses. The plus is that you have a lot of creative freedom. For example, when I told my friends I have published a book with Dani there, but did you address some agency, or did you address some publishing house? Did they think that someone first has to like this to publish it? I say, no, when you're self-published, you just publish. Yes, you don't have to be approved, Well, of course, there is a review for content that you don't have anything illegal there, but then the storybook, the story itself, you can publish, and you can use your skills or someone else's skills to help you publish. Well, publishing a book goes well beyond just creative process. The story is just one part of it, because then you have to become your own publishing house. You have to become your own designer, technical specialist, manager, entrepreneur, marketing person, everything. Yes, there is no one behind you to promote this for you and do it for you. I mean, unless you, of course, know how to, and also you need to know how to organize. If you hire someone else, you need to also have skills to work with, to deal with these people.
Yes, there's so much to it. And I think a lot of new authors don't realize what they're getting into when they think, oh, I can just write a story and publish it. And then they don't know the steps, and the organization you mentioned is key to all of this. And so great, Darya, talking with you and you sharing so much. The story just fascinates me about you and your son and creating this first book. Share with the listeners your book, your website, your social media handles, where they can find you and the story about your son.
Yeah, so I don't have a specific website dedicated just to this book or to me as an author. All my books are on Amazon. So wherever you live, you go to Amazon marketplace nearest to you. If you are in the US, it's amazon.com. If you're in Canada, it's amazon.ca. Type in Darya Gunay. Also search directly by the name of the book, Dani the First Kid in Space. It's in Amazon and all the marketplaces, and also it's in English and in French. It will be in Amazon Kindle and in print. For kids, I suggest the best is print version, because I also have several, maybe 5-10 activity pages in the back of the book with crosswords, search for words, with drawings, with some activities related to the book. which reinforce actually the knowledge, because kids will solve the puzzles related to the story content and they will retain more information. Also, I have these books in Google Play, also as additional platform. Since I own those websites for language learners, I put a link to the book in my website, expressrussian.co. It's my website for those who learn Russian as a foreign language. Also, in my other websites, ukrainianforbeginners.com, I posted the link for Ukrainian version. This is my website for those who learn Ukrainian as a foreign language. And they can always find me on Instagram as Darya_GVA.
That's great. I think what really caught my attention is in the back of the book, you had included worksheets, like what we normally...
Yes, that's what I called, yes. Activity pages, that's what I called, yes.
What we normally put on our website, free downloads, you include that in the book. I think that's great, Darya. Can't wait to see what else if you have anything else, you and Dani have anything else in the works.
Yes, for now, it's in our head only, but we did announce it already in the book. And I will say it now that there will be for sure continuation. And next time we will go to distant galaxies, definitely beyond our solar system.
How exciting. Thanks again, and we will see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you, JoAnn.